Well, State of Origin is just around the corner, down under, of course, three of the biggest games of rugby league you are ever likely to see. So let's talk about it a little bit. And with me, two current Betfred Super League players who know a thing or two about it, representing New South Wales, of course, Paul Vaughan, and representing the Maroons, or the Maroons as I would say if I wasn't from England, Josh McGuire. Gents, thank you for joining us. We're trying to imitate some of your Australian weather this week. I know it's been a long time coming for both of you. State of Origin, as we've mentioned, coming around the corner on Wednesday. Paul, I'll come to you first. How big is it? How special is it being involved in those series?
Yeah, I think it's, well, for me, it was probably one of the biggest games I've ever played in, to be fair. Just everyone really gets around it. The country in Australia, obviously, it's probably one of the biggest games there. So I was lucky enough to be involved in it, and it was a really good experience in my career back home.
Josh, we have rivalries over here in the Betfred Super League. Some pretty big ones, but there's a real kind of fuel in that one, isn't there? A real dislike between those two teams when they come together.
Yeah, just the history behind it. I think when it originated and how it went about. I think the way it is now, they kind of get you at a young age when you're 15, 16, and they kind of ingrain into you, the dislike and the just the rivalry gets kind of boiled through you as a young fella, and by the time you actually get your opportunity, if you get your opportunity, you don't get many opportunities, and you make the most of it. So the blood's boiling, and the rivalries, kind of all your friendships go out the window, and it's probably the only time of the year you get to assault somebody and get away with it and get cheered for it. So it's carnage, but it's it's entertainment, and it's such a big thing over there. Like, especially being from Queensland, it's we always play the underdog card and the rivalry, and how New South Wales always have the bigger and better players, and we've got to always come from behind and do it the hard way. But it's just it's the theatre of it and how it gets built up. So it's a special moment.
You've only got to take a quick look at the two team sheets to see the calibre of player involved every year. Were you, Paul, when you made your Origin debut, those first 10 minutes, were you kind of acutely aware of this is a step above probably any rugby league game you'll ever play in?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where back in clubland you can probably be at the top of your game fitness wise and be in the best shape you possibly can be. But then once you get to that game, and like you said, if you start in the first 10 to 15 minutes, your ass is hanging out. You can't really try and make those plays as you would back in clubland. But I think it's just a lactic acid, and I think probably the best thing that you know in the back of your head, if you survive, you sort of know that you belong there. And I think that's probably one of the best feelings that you can sort of have, just knowing that it's all well and good to sort of get to the game, but once you know that you can compete at that level and stay in the grind, if you know that you belong there, it's probably one of the best feelings that you can get.
How aware are you, Josh, of the history that you're representing when you pull on that jersey? When you think about the players that have come before you, it's always an impressive list.
Yeah, mate, it's like I said, it's ingrained into you as a young age. Like, I started playing footy, and you make Queensland rep juniors and stuff like that. It's ingrained in you then, and then as you get older, it's you see the guys before you get their opportunities, and you see guys come and fail, and guys who come and flourish in that arena, and it's a tough arena, and it's like, I always try and explain it, that it's like another sport. It's very different to anything else you ever play, and in some ways it's easier because you're playing with the best players in the world, and in some ways it's so daunting because you probably only get one opportunity, and it's a sink or swim kind of mentality. If you fail, people are quick to write you off, and you don't really get another opportunity. So it's just such a passionate game, and it just means more, I guess, to people when you play it in that game. Like, it's not just you, it's your mum, your dad, your family, friends, and everyone that's made those sacrifices along the way. So obviously playing for Australia is special, but I know in Australia, when you're a young man, that's all that's ingrained into you, is just to be in that arena.
Yeah, state against state, mate against mate. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to fire a few quick fire things at you. I'll give you about 30 seconds each to make your case. Yeah. I'm going to start with you, Paul. Why is New South Wales the better state out of the two?
The better state? I think it's just, this team at the moment, it's got a lot of quality through it. I think the last couple of years, I think there's been a couple of series where, the boys have been probably tipped to win, and Queensland's come through and won the series. So I think, obviously, in camp they would have, just the idea that they want to go out there and have a good crack and put a good series together. So I think, this year would be a pretty positive one.
Josh, make your case for Queensland.
So we make it the case for Queensland as a team, or as the actual state? Like, are we meant to
Go with an actual state. We'll come on to the team stuff in a second.
All right, then, as a state. So, well, we're just a better city, obviously, better town. It's a lot warmer up there, better beaches. Pretty much, south of the New South Wales border, if we just cut it off, we don't really need them, obviously. Better fishing, it's a bit cheaper, beer's colder. No, mate, it's just a better place. I think we're more humble. We're more humble, hard-working, underdog kind of people. That's just who we are. We're just better. We're just better.
Paul, you've spoken about the team. I'll give you an opportunity to defend that and defend your beaches and your beers.
It's just complete garbage. All this underdog stuff is ridiculous. But anyway, I don't know. Where I'm from, Canberra, I moved to. It's hard to start with Canberra, but I think I've been living on the beaches in Shell Harbour, which is about 45 minutes south of Sydney. It's just a good vibe down there. The village is good. There's good people. I think the lifestyle is pretty good there. I'm sure you can find a good lifestyle on either Queensland or New South Wales, but for me, it's home and it's what I love.
Right, I want to get your favourite. Doesn't necessarily need to be one that you're involved in. I'll let you go first this time. Your favourite state of origin memory moment?
For me, it was Game 2, 2017. We lost Game 1, and we were down by a fair bit, and we ended up coming back. It was JT kicked the winning goal from the sideline. We shouldn't have won that game, and we won that series, and it's kind of in that period of, when they were trying to say like our dominance was falling and we're kind of done. So, it was just a big game. I think for me it was my best game. The start of my I obviously played a couple of years earlier, but it was probably the first time I actually felt like I belonged in that arena, and I played like my best series, and that was probably my favourite. That was my favourite moment, just being involved in some big moments in a big game, and probably like the only time I've actually felt like I belonged in that arena at that time. So 2017 Game 2.
For me, I think it was 2018 Game 3, ANZ Stadium. I think it was the decider, and it was just a dream come true for me. It was 85,000 people there at home at ANZ, and I think Teddy's try at the end there to steal the game was pretty special. So pretty lucky to be involved in that.
Right, last one of these quick fire ones. Paul, I'll come to you first. Why has New South Wales got the better state of origin legends in terms of the players that have pulled that jersey on? Make a case for some of those names being better than their Queensland counterparts.
I think when you look at Badiris, Andrew Johns, I think obviously Queensland has some, they had a few years of dominance there, but I think, it's there's been both, legends come through both states, but I think. For New South Wales, I look at a player called Andrew Johns, and he was a gun when he was playing. So
pretty popular around here as well.
Yeah. So obviously he came here, and I think good memories as a young kid watching those boys go through.
Josh.
Yeah, mate, it's pretty hard to go past. I was pretty lucky to come through in an era with Cameron Smith, Jonathan Thurston, Darren Lockyer, Cooper Cronk. Greg Inglis, the list goes on. But you can go all the way back to the original State of Origin after Beats, and he's what started Origin, him and, Tommy Rodonicus, the original mate versus mate rivalry. So, I just think it's a theatre, it's entertainment business, and all those guys from way back then that they started it, and then it's just been kind of progressed all the way through. And myself and Paul have been very lucky enough to put our names onto that list and do something that people dream of, and rugby league players in Australia would die to be able to have that opportunity to do what we got to do. So at the end of the day, we've won more games and one more series, so I've just got to say we're better. But it's a quiet arrogance that New South Wales always have the better players, but we always win, so it is what it is.
Well, I'm not going to bother asking for predictions. I'm not going to get an unbiased answer out of you two, am I? But gents, thank you for joining us. Plans for watching it? Will you be training?
It's on a Wednesday.
Wednesday morning over here.
Yeah.
I'll try my best to catch it probably before training or see how we go. So
hopefully the coach gives us the day off. We're going to have a few beers.
it'd be nice.
Well, gents, thank you for joining us. Best of luck in your games over the next couple of weeks, and enjoy Magic Weekend coming up in Newcastle as well.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you,
Thanks for having us.
Nice one.
Cheers.